The big screen showed alien faces from across the galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison stood in his ship's main room, watching them talk. His old face showed no fear, as the strange beings spoke in angry voices. "Human captains do not listen anymore," said Ambassador Krell. His 4 yellow eyes looked mean as he spoke. "They do not follow our rules. This makes trouble for everyone. We say all human captains must give up their ships. New captains will take over. Captains we choose." Captain Lisa Chang was on her ship called the Denver. She got the same message, that 47 other human captains got all over space. Her helper, Commander Pete Williams, watched her face get dark as she read what the Council wanted. The Council was tired of humans doing things their own way. Just 3 weeks ago, Captain Ben Parker had saved some civilian ships when he was not supposed to. The Council said he should not have done it. Captain Sue Davis had also made them angry. She saved a broken alien ship with 300 people inside when the Council told her to leave it alone. "They want our ships in 3 days, Jake Morrison told his crew. Everyone on the bridge became quiet. Chief Engineer Amy Foster looked up from her workstation. She could not believe what she heard. The Council thought human captains would just say yes and give up. But they forgot something important. Humans got their captain jobs by being good at their work, not because someone gave them the job for political reasons. Captain Morrison walked to the big window that showed space outside. Behind him, his crew waited to hear what he would say. These people had been with him for 5 years. They had fought pirates together. They had saved colonies together. They had explored new worlds together. "Sir, what do we do?" asked Lieutenant Paul Green from his seat at the communications panel. Morrison turned around. His gray hair was cut short like a soldier. His brown eyes looked at each person on the bridge. These aliens thought they could just take away what humans had worked so hard for. 3 sectors away, Captain Lisa Chang was having the same thoughts. She had been captain of the Denver for 8 years. Her crew was like family to her. The ship was her home. Some aliens in fancy meeting rooms wanted to take it all away. "Captain, the Council says we have to answer in 24 hours, Commander Williams said quietly. Captain Chang looked at her hands. They had scars from fixing engines, cuts from fighting in close combat, burns from laser weapons. She had earned every mark while protecting people across the galaxy. Captain Ben Parker was reading the message on his ship, the Phoenix. He was younger than the other captains, only 32 years old. But he had already saved more lives than most people could count. The Proxima incident was just the latest time he had done what was right instead of what was ordered. The message said he was reckless and unpredictable. It said human captains could not be trusted to make good choices. It said they needed alien supervision to do their jobs right. Captain Sue Davis laughed when she read that part. She had been fighting in space for 15 years. She had seen things that would make these council members hide under their beds. They sat in safe buildings on safe planets and made rules for people who risked their lives every day. "Ma'am, incoming call from Captain Morrison," her communications officer said. "Put him through," Sue said. Jake Morrison's face appeared on the screen. Behind him she could see his bridge crew working. "Sue, did you get the message?" "I got it. What do you think?" "I think they picked the wrong fight. Similar conversations were happening on 46 other human ships. Captain Dan Kelly on the Eagle was talking to Captain Mary Johnson on the Falcon. Captain Steve Roberts on the Hawk was sending messages to Captain Helen Wright on the Condor. The Council had made one big mistake. They thought humans would act like other species. When the Zephyrians got an order, they followed it. When the CR reptilians got a command, they obeyed. When the Centaurians were told to do something, they did it. But humans were different. Ambassador Krell sat in his office, feeling very pleased with himself. The message had been sent to all human captains. Soon proper alien officers would be running those ships. The humans would be sent to desk jobs or maybe allowed to work as crew members under supervision. "The humans will comply," he told his assistant. "They always do what is smart for them. Fighting the whole council would not be smart." His assistant, a young Zephyrian named Vess, was not so sure. "Sir, I have read reports about human behavior. They can be very stubborn when they feel threatened. Nonsense, Krell said, waving two of his forearms. No one fights the Council. The Council has the biggest ships, the best weapons, the most soldiers. Humans are smart enough to know this. But 3 hours after the message was sent, something unexpected started happening. The first response came from Captain Dan Kelly. Message received. Response: negative. Phoenix remains under human command. Then Captain Mary Johnson sent her answer. Falcon will not comply with Council order. Then Captain Steve Roberts. Eagle refuses to surrender command. One by one, every human captain sent the same type of message. They would not give up their ships. Ambassador Krell stared at his screen as the responses came in. This was not supposed to happen. No species had ever refused a direct Council order. Sir, his assistant said quietly. All human captains have refused to comply. Krell's four eyes blinked in confusion. All of them? Yes, sir. All 48 captains have said no. The Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from 12 different species appeared on screens around the chamber. They had expected the humans to argue a little, maybe ask for better terms. They had not expected complete refusal. This is rebellion, declared Admiral Vex of the Centaurian fleet. We must show them that the Council's word is law. I agree, said General Thoss. Of the Reptilian Command, send ships to enforce the order. Ambassador Krell nodded. Very well. Admiral Vex, take your fleet and collect the human ships. Use whatever force is necessary. As the Council members ended their meeting, none of them noticed the small detail that would soon become very important. In all their talk about human ships and human stubbornness, they had forgotten to ask one simple question. Why were the humans so confident they could say no? The answer to that question would change everything. Within 6 hours of the Council's message, something amazing happened. Every human captain made the same choice without talking to each other first. They would keep their ships. Captain Dan Kelly was the first to send a public message. His ship, the Phoenix, was near the edge of known space. He turned on his communication system and spoke to everyone who could hear. This is Captain Kelly of the Phoenix. We got your message, Council. Here is our answer. No. Phoenix stays under human command. His message went out on all frequencies. Every ship, every station, every planet heard it. The words were simple but powerful. Captain Mary Johnson heard the message on her ship, the Falcon. She smiled and told her communications officer, send the same message. Falcon will not give up command to anyone. The response spread like fire across space. Captain Steve Roberts on the Eagle sent his refusal next. Then Captain Helen Wright on the Hawk. One after another, human captains declared they would keep their ships. Captain Lisa Chang stood on her bridge, watching the messages come in. Commander Pete Williams counted them. That's 20 captains. So far, ma'am. All saying no. Good, Chang said. She had been worried that some captains might be scared of the Council, but humans were showing their true nature. When threatened, they stood together. Captain Ben Parker was in his ready room when his first officer brought him the news. Sir, 35 human captains have refused the Council order. More messages are coming in. Parker nodded. He had started this whole problem by saving those civilian ships. Now other captains were risking their careers to support him. It felt good and scary at the same time. What's our status, Commander? Parker asked. All systems ready, sir. Crew is at battle stations. We're prepared for whatever comes next. The Council was not prepared for what came next. Ambassador Krell sat in the emergency meeting, his four eyes wide with shock. The big screen showed message after message from human captains, all of them saying the same thing in different ways. This has never happened before, whispered Ambassador Thyra from the Aquatic Collective. Her blue skin looked pale. No species has ever refused a Council order completely. It's not just refusal, said General Thoss, his reptilian face showing anger. They're challenging our authority in front of the whole galaxy. Admiral Vex slammed his fist on the table. 48. Ships think they can fight the entire Council? This is madness. I will show them what happens when you disobey. How many ships do you need? Asked Ambassador Krell. One should be enough, Vex replied with confidence. My flagship, the Apex Dominator, can handle any human vessel. I'll start with the closest one. The closest human ship was Captain Lisa, Chang's Denver. It was a medium-sized vessel with a crew of 200. The Apex Dominator was 10 times bigger with a crew of 3,000. Chang knew they were coming. Her sensors officer, Lieutenant Tom Baker, reported the massive ship approaching. Captain, Centaurian dreadnought coming in fast. It's the Apex Dominator. Admiral Vex's ship, Chang said quietly. She had heard stories about that vessel. It had destroyed pirate fleets single-handedly. It had conquered 3-star systems. Now it was coming for her. Ma'am, they're sending a message, said the communications officer. Admiral Vex's face appeared on the main screen. He looked very sure of himself. His ship had never lost a battle. Human vessel Denver, you will prepare to be boarded. Your crew will be transferred to my ship. You will then surrender command as ordered by the Council. Chang looked at her crew. These people had been with her through dangerous missions. They had saved colonies together. They had fought off pirate attacks. They trusted her to make the right choice. Admiral, Chang said calmly, you're welcome to try. The words became famous across human space within hours. Other human captains heard the recording and felt proud. Their colleague was not backing down even against impossible odds. Admiral Vex was surprised by the response. Most species would have surrendered immediately when facing his mighty ship. Human, you cannot win this fight. My ship has weapons that can destroy yours in seconds. Maybe, Chang replied, but you'll have to catch us first. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The Denver was much smaller than the Apex Dominator, but it was faster. Chang ordered her ship to move at maximum speed toward the huge enemy vessel. This was not normal tactics. Usually smaller ships tried to stay away from bigger ones. Captain, what are you doing? Admiral Vex demanded over the communications channel. Chang didn't answer. She was too busy giving orders to her crew. All power to engines, weapons ready. Amy, I need everything this ship can give me. Chief Engineer Amy Foster's hands flew over her controls. You've got it, Captain. Engines at 110%. The Denver shot forward like a bullet. It moved so fast that the Apex Dominator's big guns couldn't turn quickly enough to target it. The massive ship had been built to fight other large vessels at long range. Not small, fast ships at close range. Chang took her ship right into the Apex Dominator's defensive perimeter. This was dangerous because she was now very close to enemy weapons. But it was also smart because those weapons couldn't aim at her properly. Target their weapon systems, Chang ordered. Small, precise shots. Don't try to destroy the ship, just make it helpless. The Denver's weapons were much smaller than the enemy's, but they were accurate. Chang had 15 years of experience fighting pirates and raiders. She knew exactly where to hit a Centaurian ship to cause the most damage. While Admiral Vex's gunners struggled to hit the fast-moving human ship, the Denver systematically attacked the Apex Dominator's weapon arrays. One by one, the big guns went silent. Impossible, Admiral Vex muttered as another weapon system failed. This should not be happening. But it was happening. The Denver was like a small, angry bee attacking a giant. The giant was powerful, but too slow to swat the bee. And the bee knew exactly where to sting. Chang's tactics were not taught in any military academy. She was making them up as she went along, using instinct and experience. This confused the Centaurian crew, who had been trained to fight predictable battles. After 18 minutes, the Apex Dominator was floating helplessly in space. Its weapons were destroyed. Its engines were damaged. Its life support was failing. Admiral Vex stared at his control screens in disbelief. His mighty ship had been defeated by a vessel 1/10 its size. Admiral, Chang's voice came over the communications channel. Do you need assistance? Your life support looks bad from here. The proud Centaurian admiral had to swallow his pride. Yes, we need help. Captain Chang ordered her crew to begin rescue operations. They saved every single alien on the Apex Dominator, even though those same aliens had come to take over their ship. The battle lasted 18 minutes. The lesson would last much longer. News of Admiral Vex's defeat spread across the galaxy in hours. The Council could not believe it. Their most powerful ship had been beaten by a small human vessel. But this was just the beginning. Captain Ben Parker was facing 3 Zephyrian cruisers near the outer rim. The alien ships had surrounded his Phoenix, thinking they had him trapped. The Zephyrian commander, Admiral Kess, felt very confident. "Human ship, you cannot escape," Admiral Kess said over the communications channel. 3 ships against 1. Surrender now and we will be gentle with you." Parker looked at his tactical display. The 3 enemy ships were moving in a standard formation. They expected him to either run away or fight them one at a time. Instead, Parker did something that made no sense to alien military thinking. He flew straight toward all 3 ships at once. "Captain, they'll blow us apart," his weapons officer said nervously. "Not if we're too close for them to shoot each other," Parker replied with a grin. The Phoenix dove between the 3 Zephyrian cruisers. The alien ships tried to target the human vessel, but Parker had positioned himself perfectly. Every time they fired, they risked hitting their own ships instead of the Phoenix. Parker's crew worked like a well-trained team. They had practiced unusual tactics for years. While the Zephyrian ships struggled to coordinate their attack, the Phoenix picked them apart one by one. First, Parker damaged the engines of the lead cruiser. Then he knocked out the weapons of the second ship. Finally, he disabled the communications of the third vessel, so it couldn't coordinate with the others. All 3 Zephyrian cruisers were left drifting in space, helpless but alive. Admiral Kess stared at his dead control panels, trying to understand what had happened. "How?" he whispered. Meanwhile, Captain Sue Davis was having her own battle in the asteroid field near Sigma Station. 4 reptilian warships had cornered her there, thinking the space rocks would limit her movement. They were wrong. Captain Davis knew asteroid fields better than most people knew their own homes. She had been mining asteroids before becoming a ship captain. She used the floating rocks like a 3-dimensional maze. The reptilian ships were bigger and more powerful, but they couldn't maneuver between the asteroids like Davis could. Her ship, the Guardian, slipped between space rocks that the enemy vessels couldn't follow through. Davis played a deadly game of hide-and-seek. She would appear from behind one asteroid, fire at an enemy ship, then disappear behind another rock, before they could shoot back. One by one, she disabled the reptilian warships. Not destroyed, disabled. She was careful to damage only weapons and engines, not life support. Even in battle, she remembered that those were living beings on the enemy ships. The reptilian commander, General Scar, watched his fleet become helpless. "This human fights like no warrior we have ever seen," he told his aide. "She uses the environment as a weapon." But the most shocking battle was yet to come. The Council had sent their best unit to deal with Captain Jake Morrison. The Combined Species Tactical Squadron was made up of 5 ships, each one representing the finest military thinking of a different alien race. Commander Theus led the squadron in her battle cruiser, the Inevitable Victory. She was considered the greatest military mind in the galaxy. Her ship was supported by a Zephyrian destroyer, a Centaurian heavy cruiser, a reptilian attack vessel, and an aquatic collective stealth ship, 5 ships with different strengths working together. They had never lost a battle. "Human Captain," Commander Thys transmitted to Morrison's ship, the Atlanta, "You face the combined might of 5 species. Your defeat is inevitable. Surrender now and save your crew." Morrison stood on his bridge, looking at the tactical display. 5 enemy ships surrounded him in a perfect formation. Each one was dangerous in its own way. Together they should have been unstoppable. "Commander," Morrison replied calmly, "I appreciate the warning, but I think you've made a mistake." "What mistake?" Thys demanded. "You brought 5 ships to fight, 1 human. You should have brought more." What happened next became the most studied battle in galactic military history. Morrison did something that broke every rule of space combat. Instead of focusing on one enemy at a time, he divided his attention between all 5 ships. His crew thought he had lost his mind, but Morrison had a plan. He knew that each alien species fought differently. The Zephyrians liked long-range combat. The Centaurians preferred close-range slugging matches. The Reptilians used aggressive hit-and-run tactics. The Aquatic Collective relied on stealth and surprise. Morrison used their differences against them. He pretended to run away from the Zephyrian destroyer, making it chase him toward the Centaurian cruiser. When the two ships got close together, he suddenly changed direction, causing them to nearly collide with each other. While they were trying to avoid hitting each other, Morrison attacked the Reptilian vessel's engines. The attack ship spun out of control, right into the path of the stealth ship. In less than 3 minutes, Morrison had turned the perfect formation into chaos. The 5 ships were getting in each other's way instead of working together. But Morrison wasn't done. He began systematically disabling each ship, but he did it in a specific order. First, he knocked out their weapons, then their engines, then their communications. Finally, he damaged their life support systems just enough to make them dangerous, but not deadly. Commander Thys watched in horror as her perfect squadron fell apart. "This is impossible," she said. "No one can fight 5 ships at once." But Morrison was doing exactly that. His crew worked with incredible efficiency. Every person knew their job perfectly. They had trained for situations like this, even though everyone said such situations were impossible. The battle lasted exactly 7 minutes and 32 seconds. When it was over, all 5 ships of the Combined Species Tactical Squadron were floating helplessly in space. Their crews were in danger from failing life support systems. And then Morrison did something that shocked everyone. He began rescue operations. "All ships, this is Captain Morrison of the Atlanta. We're coming to help. Prepare to receive emergency aid." Morrison's crew worked quickly to save the alien crews. They repaired life support systems. They provided medical aid. They made sure every single alien survived the battle. Commander Thys was brought aboard the Atlanta for medical treatment. She had been injured when her ship lost power. As Morrison's doctor treated her wounds, she stared at the human captain. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you save us after we tried to destroy you?" Morrison looked at her with tired eyes. "Because that's what humans do. We fight when we have to, but we save lives when we can." The council watched these battles from their meeting chamber. Ambassador Krell's 4 eyes were wide with shock. General Thoss sat in stunned silence. Admiral Vex, attending by hologram from his rescue ship, looked ashamed. 12 ships, whispered Ambassador Thyra. "They defeated 12 of our best ships. Without destroying any of them," added Ambassador Krell quietly. The council realized they had made a terrible mistake. They had declared war on the wrong people. 3 days after the battles, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The big meeting room was quiet except for the sound of nervous breathing. 12 different alien species sat around the table, all looking worried. Ambassador Krell's voice shook as he spoke. "We have lost 23 ships. Not destroyed, but completely disabled. Every crew member was rescued by the same human captains we tried to remove from command. The holographic displays showed the aftermath of their failed attack. Pictures of disabled council ships floating in space. Videos of human crews working to save alien lives. Reports of perfect military operations that had ended with 0 deaths. Ambassador Thyra of the Aquatic Collective spoke carefully. "Perhaps we should think again about human command independence." The Zephyrian delegation stayed quiet. They had lost their entire frontier fleet to Captain Ben Parker's tactics. Admiral Kess had sent a private message saying his crews were too embarrassed to show their faces in public. The Reptilian High Command had already quietly changed their minds about the whole thing. After Captain Sue Davis returned their captured crews with full medical care and military honors, General Scar had recommended that humans be given medals instead of punishment. Commander Thys appeared on screen from her hospital bed. She was still recovering from her battle with Captain Morrison. "Council members," she said weakly, "I have fought in over 50 battles. I have never seen anything like what these humans can do." "Explain," demanded Ambassador Krell. "They don't fight like any species we know. They use tactics that shouldn't work but do. They turn their weaknesses into strengths. They make us fight against ourselves instead of against them." General Thoss leaned forward. But they are still just humans. We have billions of ships. They have only 48. Those 48 ships just defeated our best forces, Thyra pointed out quietly. What do you think would happen if we sent more ships? The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. If 48 human captains could do this much damage, what could 100 do? What about 1,000? Ambassador Krell received a private message on his personal communicator. He read it and his 4 eyes went wide. The Outer Rim territories are requesting human captains for protection duty. They heard about the battles and want human ships to defend them. More messages started coming in. The mining colonies nearby Vega wanted human escorts for their cargo ships. The trade routes through dangerous space were asking for human patrol vessels. 3 different planetary governments had formally requested human captains to lead their defense fleets. The whole galaxy is watching us, whispered Ambassador Thyra. If we keep fighting the humans, everyone will see us as the aggressors. Admiral Vex appeared on screen from his temporary command ship. His pride was badly hurt, but he was honest about what had happened. My ship was defeated by superior tactics and skill. Captain Chang could have destroyed us, but chose to save us instead. We owe her our lives. Similar reports came from other defeated commanders. Captain Parker had sent medical supplies to the crews he had defeated. Captain Davis had towed the damaged reptilian ships to the nearest repair station. Captain Morrison had personally visited the hospital where Commander Thiss was recovering. They treat defeated enemies better than we treat our allies, Admiral Vex admitted. Ambassador Krell felt his political career crashing down around him. This whole mess had been his idea. He had convinced the Council that humans needed to be controlled. Instead, he had proven that humans were better left alone. What do we do now? Asked General Thoss. The answer came from an unexpected source. Captain Jake Morrison requested permission to address the Council directly. After much debate, they agreed to let him speak. Morrison appeared on the main screen, standing on the bridge of his ship. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations. They looked calm and professional, not like people who had just fought a war. Council members, Morrison began. My fellow captains and I want to return to our normal duties. We have no desire for conflict with the galactic government. Ambassador Krell found his voice. You defeated our fleets. You could demand anything you want. Morrison shook his head. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want to do our jobs. Protecting trade routes, exploring new worlds, keeping the peace. That's what we're good at. And if we try to remove you from command again? Asked General Thoss. Morrison's expression didn't change, but somehow he looked more dangerous. I don't think you'll try that again. The simple statement carried more weight than any threat could have. Everyone remembered how easily the human captains had defeated superior forces. No one wanted to test them again. What are your terms? Ambassador Thyra asked. No terms, Morrison replied. We want to work with the Council, not against it. But we keep operational control of our ships. We make our own tactical decisions. We save lives when we can, even if orders say otherwise. The Council members looked at each other. These were not the demands of conquerors. These were the requests of people who just wanted to do their jobs without interference. Ambassador Krell cleared his throat. The Council will need to vote on this. I understand, Morrison said. Take your time. We'll be here when you decide. The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed to let human captains keep full operational control of their ships. The official statement praised the exceptional tactical skills and humanitarian values shown by human command officers. What the statement didn't mention was the private conversation that happened after the official meeting ended. Ambassador Thyra had said what everyone was thinking. We picked a fight with the wrong people. The human captains went back to their regular duties, but everything had changed. Pirates started avoiding sectors where human ships patrolled. Hostile governments thought twice before attacking trade routes protected by human captains. The Council's member species began asking specifically for human officers to lead important missions. Captain Lisa Chang was reading reports on her bridge when her communications officer brought her the latest news. Captain, we have 15 priority requests from different council worlds. They all want immediate assistance. Chang smiled as she looked at the requests. The same council that had tried to remove her from command 3 weeks ago was now begging for her help. Mining colonies wanted her to escort their cargo ships. Exploration missions wanted her tactical expertise. Diplomatic convoys wanted her protection. Plot a course for the nearest emergency, she told her navigator. Looks like we're going to be busy. Lieutenant Tom Baker looked up from his sensor station. Captain, long-range scans show pirate activity in Sector 7. 3 merchant ships, under attack. Change course, Chang ordered immediately. Maximum speed. Her crew moved quickly to carry out the orders. They had done this hundreds of times before. It didn't matter that they had just fought a war with the Council. People needed help, and that's what humans did. As the Denver jumped to faster-than-light speed, Chang thought about the past few weeks. The Council had tried to take away what humans had earned through skill and dedication, but in the end, they had only made human reputation stronger. The war had lasted 72 hours. The respect would last much longer. Word of the 72-hour war spread throughout the galaxy. It became a legend told in bars and meeting rooms across hundreds of worlds. The story of how 48 human captains had faced down the entire Galactic Council and won. But Captain Chang knew the real victory wasn't in the battles they had won. It was in the lives they had saved, both human and alien. It was in the trust they had earned from people across the galaxy. It was in the proof that doing the right thing was always worth fighting for. The stars streamed past the Denver's windows as the ship rushed toward another emergency. Another chance to help. Another opportunity to show that humans could be trusted, with the responsibility they had been given. Behind them, the Galactic Council was learning a lesson they would never forget. Sometimes the best way to control people is to not try to control them at all.